Are we sure? Because it's just there it is. Now it
There it
says
is.
now it's live.
Now you're live to the world. Welcome.
Right at 11 on the clock, like we said. If you're
That's
in this central time zone,
is it
um,
11?
it's 12 here. I
Yeah.
think now. I don't know, man.
It's
Y'all
11
know
my
that
time.
technology has abandoned me today. Uh, I had a power outage as I was coming in to this after already having to cancel on Mr. Shot Clock yesterday, our esteemed guest, due to my own scheduling conflicts. And so I was just like, oh my God, he's just gonna think I'm like blowing him off, Isaac. Like at least just like talk to him, please. So that way he
You're
doesn't
big
think I'm
time.
like I'm like, please
You're
just
out
at
here
least
big time.
yeah, right. It's like no, I'm just sitting here at home hoping that we paid our power bill on time or whatever. So it's like, I hope this is somebody else's fault. Shit. So, welcome everybody to the Dream Show Live. We are here, myself, Isaac, and Mr. Shot Clock, Andrew Murillo, the head PGF referee, the most hated man in professional jiu-jitsu.
Yes,
What's up,
sir.
Andrew?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. It's great to join you guys. I love this. It's PGF season. It's going down in 2 weeks. I'm ready. Hope y'all are ready.
2 weeks. That's what's crazy, right? It's like preparing to go, right? This time I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be there the whole time. So it's like I'm gonna drive my truck. So I was like get my oil changed and tires rotated and stuff today, trying to be like a responsible adult in that way or whatever. So it's like, man, I gotta be on the move, and then it's a lot to get ready for. Not counting anybody that's competing or anything like that. Just being prepared for all the things that happen PGF wise uh, is fun, but it's a hustle, right? All of us involved, we put a lot of work and effort into it, and that's why it's a good thing for the fans and stuff to see because it's still a big kind of passion project for most of us, I would say for sure. Um, but yeah, Andrew, you've come in the last what season was it? Did you like five is when you kind of started coming in a little bit? I think like being not six. I mean the first Vegas season.
Yeah, the first Vegas season was my first official season with the PGF as head official.
And so comparing, let's kind of start there then. Comparing maybe where you started coming into the PGF and how the rules were and the way the game's kind of played. What are some of your thoughts on maybe some of the changes that have happened? There's been hundreds of hours of rules meetings about this stuff and how to like best do it. So what are some of the things you can remember from when you came in to now that have kind of been good changes or just changes in general?
Yeah, I think all the changes are good changes. And I think that, like in any sport, especially jujitsu, athletes are always going to figure out how to game the rules. So, season 6, athletes started to learn how to game the rules. We had to adjust. Season 7, they learned how to game the rules. We had to adjust. Season 8, they learned how to game the rules even more. We had to adjust. So, first of all, just the whole penalty position and throwing a flag and having a shot clock in general is so new to our sport. I think is genius, and I think we've been able to really see how it pushes action in jiu-jitsu in the sport. So the penalty position had to evolve because guys were learning how to kind of game that position. So we had to make them more vulnerable, and we had to make it a lot more of a penalty, what it is, right? Like we want the athlete to really not want to be in that position. And so that means that you can't be boring, We've changed a lot of verbiage, like stalling. It actually isn't, we call it stalling, but that's not really the best way to describe what we are penalizing. It's inactivity is the best way to describe what's happening. So what you would consider stalling in like maybe an IBJJF or like an ADCC is probably a better example, is not even stalling here. You get more time actually in those rule sets than you do in the PGF rule set. So just being inactive. there was, and also like in other rule sets, there was a time where we were like, all right, this inactivity onus is always going to be on the bottom player. And so that's evolved to now it's the defensive player because it's not always the bottom player who's defensive. You'll see guys like, Jet Thompson, Chris Wojcik, like people who have these really crazy active guards. And so if they're constantly attacking, it's not really fair to call an inactivity call on those guys.
That's one of the things I had like a question that I was going to ask sort of about. So I just want to kind of interrupt you there if I could.
Yeah.
So like along that, I know that like you said, like it first started maybe where the bottom guy, oh, it's on him. He's got to make the move or whatever it is to get it going. When those conversations were being had and decisions were being made, what were the hardest positions to kind of decide that were like, oh, this is going to be on this top player or this would be on this bottom player? Where were some of those spots where there was the most like friction?
Well, offhand, I can think of, I'll tell you a real like easy general one is just like the passer, people's trying to just sit on the knee shield. And then, is he really trying to pass or is he just sitting with pressure? And what's the person on the bottom doing? Are they excessively framing or are they trying to drag in? So I think that's a real common one that we see. One of the harder ones that we had a lot of debate about was rubber guard. As like I'm a 10th planet person and I really understand. We saw it. I think it was season 7 with like Benetti or Fedor. Actually, I think that was the same season. But with Fedor, we started seeing him play rubber guard, and as like all of my other official colleagues, as it should be, are from different affiliations, right? So they play the game. They've learned to play the game really differently, and so our opinion on what like constitutes inactivity in the rubber guard position differed. I understand that a lot of times rubber guard takes some patience, and that's kind of like the way you play that game. But my argument is that you're being offensive though, like you're the offensive player. And so it's like, if I'm inactive in offense, what does that look like? In my opinion, the onus is on the guy trying to pass to either get his posture back or start trying to pass through that bottom leg, right? And so, but other people were like, well, he's just kind of holding there, and then he can draw an inactivity penalty out of his opponent by just kind of holding, so those were things we had to debate and kind of figure out what we were going to do. The other one would be like, there was a season where Andy Varela had passed Benetti's guard inside control and just held him and waited for the inactivity to get called, and John Jock got really upset about it. And so that was like a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it is on the bottom players. The onus is on the bottom player to start to get moving. And you may have to do some things that you really just don't want to do.
When you're talking about moving, Andrew, on the bottom player, like the onus on them, the like movement that you're looking for, are you looking for the like sell out, like trying to go for the escape? Like, what are you looking for when you talk about that movement?
We're looking for big, complete position changes. So if you're on your back, a complete position change would be you need to end up hip heisted on your knees. And if that's not the movement that you're willing to make, if that's not the risk that you're willing to make, you're going to get penalized. Yeah, I mean, and I get it. Like, nobody wants to give up their back. That's not, Brandon talks about this concept of what good jiu-jitsu is, and that this isn't necessarily about doing good jiu-jitsu. Good jiu-jitsu is being tight, is fighting for inches. That's good jiu-jitsu, but that's not what this game is. We've set out a game in front of you, and you have to use what you know about jiu-jitsu to try and win this game. So the movement, back to your question, Isaac, is we really want to see you do really big positional changes, and that's going to involve you taking some risk.
Yeah.
Man, you really had a good point there. And so I kind of forgot my question. Oh, you mentioned the positional change. That was one of the things I kind of had to. We did see in one of the recent seasons, Christos was using that positional change idea a little I don't know, a little bit gray area ish, where he was just kind of log rolling really quick and then getting the calls broken. And I feel like there was some language changed regarding that. So that it's not just like a flail to change a position, kind of. Even it's like is there a more technical definition for that now, or am I remembering that wrong?
No, you're right. We actually coined that issue. You know, like you said, we've had hundreds of hours of rules meetings, and after last season, we had a very long meeting on what we labeled the Christos problem. And he, he was able to game the rules very well. As I mentioned in the beginning of this thing, that's what athletes are going to do. You know, so the way we've kind of changed the language is in a really meaningful way. I don't think that we were so much more disheartened by his positional changes as we were by certain like defenses. Like when he was in a bad position, when he was in a really bad position, he was able to do enough movement based on the prior criteria to not get stalling called on him. But some of it would have been excessively framing or executing what we call executing the same unsuccessful technique over and over. And so there is language in the rule book that would have fallen under, like he would have fallen under that criteria to get a flag thrown on him. And so there's also language that says merely surviving is insufficient.
Can you give us some of the criteria for getting a shot clock call?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a sec. I'm gonna pull it up. I got this notebook LM on the rule book, which has been a really helpful resource. But yeah, so like I said, I think inactivity is where we start. Like that's a really good ground base. And so that looks different in different positions. I think the one people have the biggest challenge kind of understanding is like, well, if he's on my back, like, and he's just locked in on that body triangle, like, what am I really supposed to do? And you can't just merely survive. That's really what it is. You have to make really big attempts to open that body triangle, get out, stand up, whatever that is. So let's see here. Shot clock. Let's see. I had to break down the shot clock for me. Criteria. Here we go. So initiation, we trigger it. Criteria of inactivity. Avoiding engagement. That looks different from different positions. If you're standing 3 steps backwards, not trying to stand and execute some type of deep shot, or what we define as a deep shot, some type of takedown, maybe kind of playing the edge of the mat. You'll see in a lot of other competitions, guys will play the outside edge of the mat. So you can't do that. Failing to advance position. So like we had mentioned a little bit of sitting in that knee shield, sitting in the guard. And if you're trying to do the same guard pass over and over and over and it's not working, you have to switch up your guard pass. You got to change up the technique you're trying to use to get past that guard. So we'll call a shot clock for that. Defensive posture. So like maintaining a static or defensive posture, excessive framing. There's guys also like Jed Thompson has a really difficult guard to pass, but if you're constantly throwing all sorts of heat at him and he's just framing and not really trying to draw you in to attack you, the onus would be on the bottom player. So that person would get a shot clock.
So somebody almost playing, that goes back into the like playing good jiu-jitsu. Somebody almost playing too good of a guard is the same thing. It's like you got to use it as an attacking guard or as an offensive attack at some point.
Exactly. The rule set rewards the offensive player.
Right.
Yeah, and it penalizes the defensive player. And so that's also how we've defined it. Yeah. Okay. And obviously you got to defend certain positions, but like you got to try and switch the trajectory of the match.
Okay.
It's a really interesting whole thing. Obviously, I was pretty involved with a lot of the rules stuff for a lot of the time. I haven't been as much of late, obviously, with some of the the career shifting that's kind of happened. I've had to excuse myself from being in those things a little bit because for the what's it, the optics of
Oh,
fairness and things
and
like that.
I'll just
Yeah,
interrupt you for a second and tell you that I'm really proud of you, man. And I think I'm so excited and stoked for you to take this position as GM. And I think it's a good fit for you. Somebody that has as much experience in the league as you do. And, somebody as well versed in jujitsu as you are. And I think that, I'm excited for you. I think it's a real good move.
and I appreciate it. It's definitely exciting. Um, it's a lot of new stuff too. A lot of stuff that I've done, but then definitely there's parts of it that are not just being in the know. It's executing and making those phone calls and having that soft touch when you need some paperwork turned in.
I get that
it's,
too.
it's stuff like that too, in a way. But I'm excited to get out there with the guys and be with a team, and then also the PGF team with it, with the staff on that. But it's definitely exciting, man. It's going to be really fun. Um, there was a yeah. So with referees, that was one of the follow up questions too about some of that stuff. With we have you, um, Heath Massery, Jacob Norton, and PJ. What's
Mhm.
PJ's last name?
Montana.
Montana. That's right. Uh, Great guys, all great. Like PJ throws himself under there, like he's like catching bombs and stuff, to stop these guys from rolling off the mats
He
and
is
stuff.
our pit.
There
He's
should
the
be like a
human
super
pit.
cut of him, like protecting those guys, like they're the president or something.
You can make a
At
whole
this
highlight
point,
reel on PJ for
for
sure.
sure, for sure. With you guys, you got y'all been there for a bit, and we know they have experience refereeing other events and rule sets and things. What are you guys looking for when you're training up referees for like certification or adding maybe new referees? What are some of the things that y'all are looking for as far as guys that may want to get involved with being PGF officials?
That's a great question. I'm currently working on, and I'm almost done with developing the referee certification course. We just had a big meeting about criteria and what that should look like. So there's different levels of completion for referee certification. So you have your level one, which would be your on the mat guy rules that you mostly see like PJ and Heathen. Then you have your level two, which is where you see me most of the time, which is at the table making those calls. And then you have a level three, which is like a head official, which I'm kind of wearing that hat. And me and Brandon kind of go back and forth a little bit. Brandon's trying to be more at the table and just he's really let go in a really big way of trying to take control of what's happening with the officials, especially now that we're seasoned and we really do have a good idea of what's going on. So those are like the three different levels of certification that you can reach. So for level one, I've created a written test. And so we also do like an in-person, you have to like do certain scenarios, and then you need to get some mat time being an on the mat referee at a PGF sanctioned event. So something like a qualifier or like an open, like I have a promotion called King of Subs jiu-jitsu tournaments where I only do PGF rules. And so PJ is actually one of my referees. And then I have a couple other guys that I have trained up. So you have to get between 30 and 50 matches in that rule set. Like one qualifier could get you a good 30 matches of experience with like me or Heath at the table, really helping make sure that you have things down. You have to be able to do positional resets in a intelligent way. So that's like level one, and so it's not that hard to become a level one, where it becomes a little more, what's the word, just involved, it's a little more rigorous is level two. So level two is calling the shot clock, being able to call stalling. So you have to have a really, really good understanding of stalling criteria, whereas the guy on the mat doesn't necessarily have to have that, but they will get a lot of experience understanding what constitutes inactivity and what doesn't. There's a lot of penalties, and after this, we should probably talk about some new penalties coming up. But let me finish with this.
Whoa! This is my show, Drew. Having said we should look at some of the new rules and some of the things that are changing.
I just don't want
let's let you follow up with some of the. Let's finish up with what you're saying first, though.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And so the level 2 referee is a table judge, right? And so you have to know pretty intently like what constitutes the stalling, what the penalty positions are looking like, and how to use the shot clock and how to use the software. And so there's like a software competency test within that level 2 certification, and then you have to have like 100 more matches. So we really want to make sure that it's rigorous because we want to keep the integrity of the PGF intact. So it doesn't matter whether it's an open or qualifier, and you have to have a certain amount of matches to even do like the season, right? So yeah, that's what that looks like.
And so there's a lot that goes into being one of these referees, and you hit on a few of them, like the resets and positional restarts are one thing I think that's very important. Two questions, and they're kind of separate, I guess. So like, is there, I'm gonna forget the second question, but either way, is there like a certain psychology of a person that you guys might look for or maybe avoid in someone that's being a PGF official? Are there other things besides just knowing the rules that may or may not affect being an official? Because it's a major league sport now, and officials could have a big effect on the outcome of the games and the things like that. So are there any like ethics kinds of things that you guys go through and things like that are like not specific to the PGF rule set, but just a general, kind of life thing?
Absolutely. So we start with an application actually. So you need to fill out an application, and obviously we talk about being impartial and non-biased, and you have to exhibit that during your on the mat time. And so also, just because you do that certain amount of mat time and just because you've completed these courses does not mean that a level 3 official like myself will sign off, or Heath will sign off on you. So you also have to be signed off on. So character is obviously important to us because, again, like, you're representing the league, and we want to uphold the integrity of the PGF. That's a big deal. So yeah, absolutely. That's the ethic line. You have to show no bias. You have to be able to be impartial. You have to make good judgment calls. And obviously in certain situations, it's not always easy to make the best judgment calls on certain plays, but it has to be very apparent that you're not playing favoritism to one athlete or the other.
Cool. And I did remember the second one. And I guess it was more like an affirmation for you, I guess, in a way, than it is like a question. But like to get to the level of being the operator of the shot clock during events is a very, very stressful position. You are constantly standing and watching, and you've got to be resetting in your mind every time that there's an exchange. Was that it? Start. Was that it? Start. Did that reset? Restart. Did that? And it's just constant all night long. I see you over there. You're constantly clicking and trying to. And dude, that is a big job. That is like attention, and being able to handle that stress of the moment is going to be such an important thing for anybody that wants to try to do that thing. Don't think my man's out here just yelling shot clock and pushing buttons.
you experienced that on the what was it, the Twisters Invitational? You were having to help Chris keep up with the shot clock a little bit.
Yeah, because there wasn't really like an official one there, and so I was just like, I'll be like, man, wonder when there will be a shot clock, and he'd look and he'd be like, oh yeah, shot clock on. It is. It's a whole thing, because the on mat referee, they're doing their best to
They
do
have a
that at
whole
the same
other,
time, but they got to be looking at athlete safety. They got to be watching the boundaries. They got to be doing a bunch of other things as well, not just resetting the clock over and over mentally too. So that's why it's so helpful to have that table judge who is somebody that's going to be paying a lot of attention and doing their work very diligently. It's crazy because I stand beside you basically during the live shows like all night, kind of that way I can keep up with what's happening because you have the official information. You're the official, so it's like I need to know what Andrew says. I don't care what anybody else is saying right now. So I see you over there trying to like do everything and go through it all, man. So it's a tough gig that's definitely maybe not like appreciated as much.
Well, I appreciate that. It is a little bit of spinning a few plates at the same time. And you're right, like the judge behind the table and the referee on the mat are two completely separate jobs, but we're also working together. And I also really do take like like feedback and signals from like Heath on the mat a lot, you know, and like we all have comms in our ears, so we're all talking constantly during the show, and we all have we all have hand signals, you know, and we're wearing the color of the athlete on the wrist. So a lot of times, like maybe I haven't called something yet, and Heath will look at me and kind of point to a color, you know, and I'll observe, or maybe there's something I'm not seeing. And so there's a lot of communication that has to happen also to make sure that we're all doing things the right way, you know, or maybe I need the guys on the mat to be doing something that they're not aware of. So having the comms is really, really valuable as well. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
man,
that was new last season, right?
yeah, yeah.
That was
And
awesome.
it helps so much, man. You know, especially for production. Like I'm sure Isaac can attest to, like, you know, having a referee in front of the camera makes it real, real hard, especially when we're trying to put together a big production worthy, you know, show on. So me being able to tell those guys to move and having them understand how to work with the camera too. Like there's a lot that we all have to think about during the show.
yeah,
100%. And
that's always been a whole thing working with the referees going through the years. We get different refs, and like it's a different like model where we're running with the cameras on the mat and everybody. Like there's two people that are constantly trying to interact, and then there's another camera angle that we need to be able to use, and nobody needs to be blocking that. So the communication on the mat has been pure magic for the last like we were just hopes and dreams
it's
and
a
smoke
dance.
signals. Yeah. So people having comms in their ears and having all that stuff at this point has just brought everything that much higher.
Definitely. I thought, yeah, when I started being able to hear what was happening, I was just like so much happier because I was out there just winging it, and I was like, I think that was TJ saying I'm about to go, so I'm gonna be ready to go. And I was like, and he's going to Alex, and I was like, fart. I took Alex's turn. Sorry, Alex. Too late. They send them. They're walking now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I'm really glad about this because I don't think the people at home really understand what all goes into putting together a production like this, man. Like everybody's working real hard, you know. So
I had
I
a
hope that reflects.
I hope so too. I was thinking like with the comms and stuff, it's like there was like a streak. I was like, you'll remember this like for sure, probably. Uh Pretty much every like show opening of some sort, like right at the beginning, I would have some sort of technical error, either my fault or not. But usually like right at the beginning, something would get messed up, either a cue or the mic wouldn't be on or it wouldn't be on at the booth or something, and it happened just like literally the beginning of every show. So I just gotten used to that, and I was like, cool. Well, I'm gonna get that out of the way, and so then everybody that's here that I've already dropped the ball once, so it's cool and whatever. It's all good from here. But in the last season, I don't think we had that at all. With when we had the comms and stuff, it was like we didn't do any of that. And so Isaac and I were talking about some of that stuff, and it's just like, is this what winning feels like? Is like because it's like is this like what a win is? It's kind of weird, you know what I mean? Where's I should be stressed out. Where's my I need more stress to feel like I'm doing the job, kind of, you know.
So what is
It's
how's your role changing? Are you still going to be announcing, or are you just GM now?
No, I'm still gonna do the announcing, still do that job, and then do the GM stuff while I'm out there also. So I'll be in Vegas for the full season. Man, I'm you know, team PGF through and through first and foremost. Whatever that is, I could cheer for any team and be with any team. I'm with the Phenoms definitely this time, and that's not gonna matter on the mic. I've been able to be impartial when some of the dudes that were like guys that were like some of my good friends were up there getting clapped, getting beat up and stuff like that, and I've had to like manage some of that stuff and interview people that were like beating my friends and different things. So it's not that hard anymore to kind of just do that job honestly, because I've been an athlete and I've been a competitor enough times that I kind of know what I would have wanted from somebody who's doing my job in that way as an announcer. And again, it doesn't affect any of the outcomes of the games at all. It's just part of the show as far as that goes. So definitely going to still do the announcing and the interviews and things like that on that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got to do that. So I was like, I still got to do that, man. I don't want to do just the work part. I got to be able to at least get to keep the really fun part of the gig. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't mind working hard, but just also let me like be on TV.
Yeah.
I heard you out there trying to take my job too in Philadelphia. I think it was. I sent you a text. I was like, who is this? Who is this voice I hear in the background? Somebody hit him.
That's funny. I really appreciate it, man. You sent me. Yeah, so I was the announcer at the Philly Phenoms qualifier, and you sent me a really nice message telling me that I was doing a good job, man. I really appreciated that.
No, for sure, man. That was great. It was, and that's why I thought to send the message. Watching it, and I was thinking about it. I was like, man, who is that? And then I realized, oh, that's Drew. And then there you go again, spinning another plate while you were managing the table refereeing or whatever. I'm gonna also throw in some announcing on the walkouts. It's cool, no big deal. It's your average PGF Tuesday.
Yeah.
I guess Wednesday now is the only night we have, so I'm used to
it's what we
all
do.
the other nights.
You get into a routine, you get into a rhythm eventually, spinning the plates. Like I remember when I was like, oh, I'm gonna call the shot clock and I'm gonna work the smooth comp and I'm gonna manage what's happening on the mat with the boys. Oh, and I'm the communication with them to production. Like, all right, let's go. So it was a lot. Season 7 was like definitely hard, and season 8, I think we really, really found our groove. And now it's like when I go to these qualifiers, it's like, oh yeah, man, this is cake because it's not like the season is rough, But it's been a whole lot of fun, man. Like it's so much fun. It's like Brandon says, I get to do hood rat stuff with my friends, and it's just so cool, man.
It is. It definitely is.
I have a new rule that I want to talk to you about specifically.
That was about to say, I don't want to let us get off track from what you wanted to talk about too. So yeah, give us some of those new rules.
All right. And the reason I want to talk to you specifically about it is because now you're a GM and your job is to manage your athletes. And so we have a new rule. We have a new rule to manage the athletes. So we have technical fouls. You get a team and get thrown out of the game. So when you have an athlete like Derek Rodman, who might be
like
getting
Officer Grimey or Cam Hurd,
or or like an Elijah Carlton or somebody who wants to be up in or even Sam Schwartz, like Sam Schwartz season 7 was threatening Heath's safety, and look, it happens, man. You're in the heat of the battle, you're passionate, you want to win, there's money on the line. I get it, and an official might be in between you and that money, and I really understand that. But we are in professional sports, and in professional basketball, baseball, football, you get up in an official's face and you get thrown out of the game. It doesn't matter how much money you make or how much money's on the line. You have to keep a professional demeanor. So we've added technical fouls this season. And so the technical foul was introduced to penalize severe behavioral infractions and flagrant safety violations that harm the spirit of the competition.
If you're scared, say you're scared, Drew.
And so, bro, I've lost so many. Like,
dang, I've already got one. Hey, listen, don't throw it on me. I'm just kidding. Okay.
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
have
say
the
I've
authority.
lost. I'm not gonna say I've lost friendships, but the dynamics between me and some of my career long friends has changed. That's for sure. And it just
That's
is what it
unfortunate.
is, man.
That's
It's
unfortunate.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's the nature of the beast, man. And like, I'm here, and I'm staying here, and I love PGF, and I support PGF because of the spirit of what PGF does. And PGF's goal and mission is to make jiu-jitsu great. And so sometimes, if I have to
Oh,
alter
the
the
crowd
dynamic
loved that.
for the greater good, then that's what we got to do. And it's for the greater good of jiu-jitsu, man. Like, this is what's going to help athletes get paid. This is what's going to put jiu-jitsu in everybody's living room. Like, then we got to do what we got to do. So,
Amen.
that being said, behavioral infractions. So I'm not going to be putting up with Elijah putting middle fingers up in my face. I'm not going to put up with Derek like yelling and acting that way. I'm not going to put up with Sam threatening Heath's safety. we're not going to do it, and we're not going to let them make PGF look unprofessional. That's where we're at.
So how many technical fouls is it that would get you disqualified?
So we have 2 technical fouls get you DQ'd for a whole day. So
for the day.
A day. You can come back the next day, unless it's something real crazy like you threw a chair at Brandon like over the freaking media desk, then you might be asked to go home. But like, outside of that, and so there's a couple things, it's not just your interaction with the referees, but it's your interaction with other athletes. We've seen fights break out and things like that. Those can qualify as technical fouls.
How hard are y'all going to police that part? Like, how much of that are you going to be like the line stepping on some of that? Maybe like some 2 guys get a little heated, they get a little heavy-handed with each other for a second. Is that going to draw a foul every time? Or is that going to be something where you guys are kind of going to play it off a little bit by like, these guys aren't normally these kind of guys, or it's like this guy's a known, habitual violator?
Well, you get 2. So like you get a chance, and like, let's say 2 guys are in a match and they start just clubbing hard and stuff, and they'll get a verbal warning before
just kind of like a stop.
You're like, hey, bro, keep it clean,
Cool.
But it's just like in UFC, right? Hey, unintentional eye poke, keep it clean. But then you do it again, hey, we're taking away a point.
Which is crazy. You should be like disqualified for poking somebody in the eye, whether it's intentional or not. That's like the worst thing. To people.
So you'll get an opportunity to correct your behavior. We're not just gonna start throwing guys, taking the axe to them. So we have a technical foul, and then we have a major technical foul. So any official like me or Heath, we have the authority to elevate a standard foul into a major technical foul if the action is determined to be excessively violent, intentional, or demonstrates a reckless disregard for athlete safety. So like really big crazy guard jumps, or like things like that, or you're really trying to like hurt the dude in a way that's beyond like what like the normal game play of game. Mandatory DQs, the accumulation of 2 Ts, or 1 big major technical foul. There's a really interesting thing that we had to address last season. Was it last season? Last season, I'm not going to name the athlete, but they were trying to game the rules in a way where their team was pretty ahead on points. And the athlete in there was kind of like injured anyway. So he jumped guard intentionally to only let his opponent score 2 points for his team, because the 6 points would have got them like ahead.
Wow.
So he's right. So now these athletes are gaming rules to like manipulate block points.
No, and dude, listen, if it's competition, right? And so if it's a gray area that hasn't been been covered, they're gonna find it, and now we have to cover it. That's why there's all those stupid things you have to go through every time you get hired, where they're like, "Don't stick a fork in the electric socket" and all that kind of crazy stuff. It's like because somebody's done that, and now we got to make a rule about it or whatever it is.
Exactly. And it's okay. It's going to keep coming up. Something's going to happen where we're going to have fixing it. But so our fix to that is obviously guard jumping is what we call a major foul. And it's not a technical. Doing it intentionally is a technical, but we're now going to give. So let's say like my team's ahead in points and I can kill you, or my team's behind in points and I could kill you and my team could get ahead of your team. So you jump guard, so we only take the 2 instead of the 6. Well, I can now deny the penalty, and I could say, no, I don't want him to be DQ'd. I'm going to take top of penalty position now instead. So by you jumping guard, you're not disqualified. Now you have to get in the bottom of penalty position. So I get to look at your back instead.
Would they get the 2 points at the end of the match either way then, or no?
That's not how we have it written now. We're just going to keep the match going because what you're trying to do is sacrifice the match. We're just going to make you fight the match and let it play out.
Fair. That's more fair for sure if you can prove that in there. That's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see how it plays out. If it happens again, I may argue to the rules committee that we should give that the person who like got the guard jumped on them, that person, instead of being able to deny it, we should just give them 6 points.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know, like that was always a weird one for me, and this is like a tangent, I guess, of sorts. I didn't have a plan, but like that was something I had considered in ways anyway. The DQ only being 2 points is like a person being fouled is also being penalized at the same time by only allowing them to get 2 points for this because there's nothing else they could do, and so the opportunity for them to score has been taken away, and depending on what happens, that could be a lot by the end of the season, especially for the individual, not even speaking about the team battle. So I think there's something that could be worked on with that. I definitely don't know the answer to it, but it is something that I've thought about. But yeah, definitely, you're definitely not going to stop them, like Chris is saying there, without the penalty. And we're seeing it though, like people are catching it and they're like, oh no, but it's just happening. But the penalty has to be heavy enough when the points are on the line, I feel like, in a way too, to make it fair, because I did hear a conversation about that, but I thought it didn't go down in the person like denied the request, so to say, to do the job for them. But yeah, that's an interesting one that I like. And regarding the technical fouls again, just so I could also be ahead of the game here, is it you get 2 fouls per day or 2 fouls in a match?
Per day.
So if you have a technical foul in match 1,
and
then a technical match in 3,
you're out.
Then you're out for the day. But I can come back the next week, even if my technical foul was only in match, if I got kicked out in match 3.
I think you're suspended for another game. Let me look at that. Give me a sec.
Introduce. Yeah, that'll be important.
Actions.
Because I might just want to slap Isaac if it's the 3rd match of the day, and I can just go home.
Just get out.
It's just worth it. Just slap the shit out of everyone's sound and go home.
Does it? I guess you just do. They don't get a point or anything, right?
No.
I guess they get 2 if you get technical fouled out, right?
If you get fouled out, they get 2. Okay.
They should, I guess. It's like a DQ then.
Yeah, that'd be the same.
I might just slap somebody on that 3rd day. Let me get a match with Elijah, somebody on the 3rd day. The 3rd match of the day, one day. Just one. I just need one match on the 3rd one, so I can just get DQ real quick. So give me some XP too.
Okay, let's see here. It says an athlete who commits a major foul is immediately disqualified for all competition for the remainder of the event day. In addition to immediate ejection from that day's event, the following rules regard suspension. So it's a 1-match suspension according to the rule book.
But that one match could be a match during the day.
Now, potential for extended penalties depending on the determined severity of the egregious violation that the fault athlete may be subject to further disciplinary actions, including suspension from future matches or complete ejection from the tournament. So kind of as I mentioned it's going to depend on the severity. But for something like,
Just say
YouTube
league, not tournament, right? The language should say league, not tournament.
From the league. Well, maybe not the league, but like the season. Like you'd be, because like a season.
That's essentially like I guess it's not banning you from the league totally, but definitely the season this season.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the thing to cover though. Listen, you still won't get invited back if you're a pain in the ass. If you're causing drama, no matter how good or whatever you are, or whatever team you're on, or any of that stuff, we're not going to want you back. None of the teams are going to want somebody that's a big problem because we don't want to be dealing with it. We don't want to be arguing with the referees or having to defend you all the time or whatever either. And it's just going to be hurting the team. So like it's not helpful at all. And if you are the person that gets asked to leave like this, then man, I can't imagine it's going to be easy for you to ever get back in.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Could you give me one of the first thing that comes to your mind about the most controversial call you've had while we're kind of here?
The most controversial call I've had?
Yeah, like the one that you felt like the most pressure regarding, whether it was right or wrong, or got it right, got it wrong, or whatever, but the one that you were just like, oh, this was like tough.
The Kevin Burig tap
with David Evers.
With David Evers, the finger tap. That was kind of,
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I felt like it was a tap. But it was
through beginning to end. You felt tapped. You never like you were start to finish.
But it was small, bro. It wasn't like a big tap, But like, I don't know. In my mind, I was really trying to protect the athlete. I was trying to protect him, and because Quadzilla was like breaking people off all turn. He injured so many people that week. And he was, very clearly dead to rights in a bad position, and I don't know. I just felt like, and then, but I always feel bad when guys like don't think that they tap. It's like I'm not trying to end somebody's match. Like who knows what happens towards the end of the match. But that was like, we had to go back to video replay and, but I still feel like I made the right call, but I think that was a tough call.
I definitely think you made the right call, especially in the moment, especially like with what you had available right in front of you when you saw it happen. I definitely thought it was too. And then looking at the video, I definitely can see that as a whole point too. Now, I want to trust Kevin because I know him and have known him for a while, that in his mind he wasn't tapping. And that's another thing that I thought about in the last year, I guess, with some of the other things that we've seen where guys, controversial for like, oh, I didn't tap or did tap or whatever, but it looks like the person's starting to tap or they're about to tap. Is their hand trembling or what, those kinds of things. And somebody made a good point that like you get to a certain point in there and you're just kind of stuck and your brain just kind of goes to your training and you would tap. And because you've tapped in training there, that's just kind of what happens, even though you're not consciously tapping. Like you're not actively thinking I'm gonna tap, but your body taps because it's used to doing it when it gets to this point. I thought that was very interesting as like a psychology kind of thing, because it makes sense to me because you do what you train to do, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's muscle memory, right? And so I think there's a lot to be said for that. But yeah, I think that was one of my more like one of the harder calls I've had to make since I've been a part of the PGF.
And then there was one that I thought that had a lot of controversy surrounding it last season, and I know there were some maybe language changes in the rules regarding some of this stuff, but JJ Bowers and Anthony Gojani with the slam no slam call.
Yeah.
What do you?
In my mind, that wasn't a tough call.
No.
No, and we've had to change language, but I watched it over and over and over really intently. And I just felt like it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like, it looked like a WWE move. And I just felt like versus versus technical judo throw the way we'd want to see it. But I can also see the other side of the argument, Go Johnny was already like off the ground, up climbing him, you know.
He did leave his own feet.
He left his own feet and jumped on JJ's back, and so it's like, and then like the impact, like JJ put some impact into that thing.
That's the line, right? That's, to me, that was where the line was. It was like, he did jump, man, and I'm with you. And that's you do take them down, like you get them down when they do that because they're taking their feet off the ground. It's the way. But he looked, in my opinion, like he gave it that little bit of extra. I don't give a shit what happens to you right here. And that was what made it cross the line to me. Was that it was just, it was like,
it was
whether it was a
finish. It was like on the finishing end of that throw is where I determined it.
Yeah, there was too much like when it was over, rather than like, oh God, I almost killed this man, like it was an accidental, like it was intentional is what I felt like. Even though he didn't pick him up, he knew that he was slamming him that way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. So I thought that was pretty controversial. I understand the commissioner's position as well, and the owners know that, like,
it's worth discussing.
Yeah, and like, hey, don't get me wrong, bro. It was great TV at the end of the day. I mean, it was a highlight for sure.
I mean, rules change all the time in all the major leagues and things like that as things happen and as they come up, and that's what makes sports and things great, is that being willing to evolve and see different situations as they kind of are, rather than just throwing out whole like blanket things like all slams are legal or all whatevers are kind of illegal or legal and things. So being willing to change and evolve is going to be important. We are an entertainment league. We're here to have entertaining matches that are grappling based matches, jiu-jitsu based matches. It's not the jiu-jitsu that we grew up and loved, where we can go no time limit and I could fight you all day, and that was great because it was just two dudes grappling. But that's not what people are here for anymore. That's not what the fans want to see. It's 6 minutes and it cuts out all the stop points, right? It cuts out the framing. It cuts out the time that you don't want to let me have your back. You got to let me have your back. I'm going to get it eventually, whether that's in 2 hours or whether that's in this 30 seconds that they're going to force you to go over and give me your back. But like eventually from these kind of pin positions, that's the idea. You're going to have to give me your back, whether that's now or tomorrow. You're going to have to do it. So we cut out that 2-day period where you can sit there and like hang out and wait and just go ahead and put them on the back, because that's the king position, right? At least in my opinion, that's the top of the food chain, top of the pyramid, is when you can get the back in, get the chokes. What do you think about that?
I would argue that I think that the king position is the mount. I don't think there's any better position than mounted back. But I think there's an argument there. And so that's also why we have what we call a play on penalty, where if you are on somebody's back or if you're in the mount, we don't reset you to that position. We're not going to create any more space, because mount and back are arguably the best, or inarguably the best submitting positions, right? And so Eddie talks about that. Like, Eddie talks about how he believes that mount is more advantageous than the back. I see a big argument to that, because I get to use weight and gravity to start working on pinning and isolating, versus if I'm just on your back, you have a little bit more movement, a little less resistance there in some of your movement. But I mean, the back is obviously,
I guess the penalty position is not the same as mount, right? But I get a look at your back from there. So I guess that's a fair differentiation. I would take mount over taking the penalty position as well.
Yeah.
I got 20% left on my phone, y'all, by the way, so we're going to have to wrap her up before too long. I didn't think about that part.
Yeah.
Did you have any other final thoughts or questions you had for him, Steven?
I had a couple things that aren't necessarily the best ones, but I do have one really quick one. What is your favorite PGF team, and why is it the Phenoms?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was actually just talking with Isaac about this. I don't have a favorite team. But I do have my own analysis of who I think looks like they're poised to win this season. Like I said, I've been using AI to really so I have like a notebook LM. I built my own language model with all PGF stuff.
Oh, is that what the LM means?
Yeah,
LLM is a large language model.
yeah. So I put the rule book in there. I put links to all the past, seasons in Vegas in there. It analyzes everything. I put the website, the XP board, the leaderboard, everything. So it has everything there. And so I can just tap into AI and ask anything about it. And it has the Kings predicted as the season's winner, but I actually don't think that that's right. If I'm on the website now, and if I look at the blocks and the way some of these teams are set up, I think y'all have a really, really strong chance at winning the season, man. I think you guys have a pretty solid team of finishers. If I were a GM or an owner or a coach putting together my team, I would be looking for people who have high finish rates. There's guys on some of these teams that don't have high finish rates, and you can see it on the XP leaderboard. If you guys go to pgf.world, all sorts of data is up here about these athletes, and you can really, if you look at it and analyze it in a really intelligent way, you can see who's kind of poised to do very well against who. They also have the blocks up, so now we know exactly who's fighting who week 1. And
week 1's gonna be a banger.
It's gonna be crazy, bro. It's gonna be so crazy. And like I said, I think you guys have a really, really good shot at winning this thing, man. So I think
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But as far as, I wouldn't say that you guys are my favorite, but
no, and obviously that was just a setup.
No.
I think the other teams are obviously good. The Kings are good. The Twisters are good. So they're going to be tough to battle with and stuff. For that top spot, I think it's really going to be a matter of the matchups. And we talked about it on here: is who's staying healthy and who shows up on what days to play. Their best games. So I'm really looking forward to it and being a part of it. Before we cut out though, Andrew, is there anything you want to say to the people? Because I don't know when this phone's going to die on me, right?
I just want to tell the people, thank you so much for your support and for watching. And, we really are working hard and doing our best to try and put on the best show possible for you guys. So you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, telling your friends to watch, getting watch parties going, participating in the fantasy. I mean, all the things that you guys do to contribute to the PGF ecosystem, it matters, So thank you guys so much. Keep telling your friends, because so many people don't realize what it is we're doing here still. They still think that we're some kind of one-off show like UFC BJJ or Polaris or whatever else. And what we're doing is so much bigger, so much better, so much fun to watch. And we're doing a lot more for athletes and for the sport of jiu-jitsu in general. So thank you guys for your support, and let's keep doing this thing, man. I'm so excited.
Dude, that's definitely it. And I would like to second that. Thank you to everybody who's watching and like tuning in and stuff. People talk to me in real life and they're like, hey, I caught some of the podcasts, or I saw this thing, or like that are not jiu-jitsu related or whatever. People like on my son's baseball team, parents and different things. And they're like, man, keep posting that stuff. It's really interesting. And they don't really necessarily know much about it. They're just interested kind of in it. And then some of them have seen UFC stuff before, et cetera, and they kind of know me now. So it's interesting in that way. So definitely thank you to everybody that's watching, and make sure you like and subscribe and all those things, man, because I know y'all are watching, but they don't know you're watching. Our computer overlords, the algorithm overlords don't know that you're watching unless you do the button pushing things that they require. So please do that stuff and send it to a friend and tell them about us. This is the most innovative thing happening in sports right now. And man, it's going to be huge in 10 years. We're gonna look back at this in 10 years and be like, I cannot believe that I was there for that. So make sure you're there for it. March the 4th, I think. Am I right?
March 4th, Wednesday, March 4th, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time,
Boom.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Nailed it.
Profesh. We'll see y'all then. Much love.